Yeah. Bro code, we in new mode, and we do it better sticking together, won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow, making profit while we get to the cheddar. We in that mode, you know if we got a problem, we pull up in that jet, fit fall on my bros, collective like the colors in the rainbow. All of that talking you did on the net, we know that you only did it for a post. If I pull up then I get in the tag, I need me like 500K for a show, or maybe more, and I got all of the stars in the ceiling cause we in a row. Yeah, just for the bros, brothers forever, so you know we got each other back. We aiming for gold, sticking together, careless about the weather, we never slack, gotta stick to the code. Bro code, we in new mode, and we do it better sticking together, won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow, making profit while we get to the cheddar. They know we own, take off, we gone, diamonds two-tone, this is our time, we in that zone.
Bro Code family, welcome. We appreciate you tuning in for another big episode of Bro Code. We back again. You know, we always stay trying to discuss these hot topics. And today we're going to discuss a more serious topic. You know, we always try to keep it light, but we're going to discuss something real serious, something that's definitely been plaguing, communities and everybody. You're right, Rico, everybody. And making, life a little bit more difficult and a little bit more challenging. So today we're going to talk about the mass shootings and things that have been occurring, around the country, different states. We're going to look at potentially how we can stop them, what's causing them, and just discuss some statistics about these mass shootings, right? So we're going to start with the topic. The topic for the show: should corporal punishment be brought back to schools? Right? And we're going to follow that up with a couple of subtopics. Would it help reduce fighting, bad behavior? Could it help reduce or eliminate school shootings? Should students be required to attend therapy to assess their mental health? Right? Most of us are, in our early 40s, ish. So some of us, when we started school, we encountered corporal punishment, right? Corporal punishment, right, for people who don't know, is when you was in school and you misbehaved, you got sent outside, and then 5, 10, 15 minutes later, teacher came out with another teacher and you got paddled, right? So that was definitely an awakening situation, because some of them teachers, they can hit, and you did not want to experience that again. So it definitely helped keep you in line and keep you from being that person that was a disruptor in class, misbehaving, all those things. Not to mention after that, a note got sent home to your folks.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So then when you got
another
home,
whipping.
You got another whipping.
Yep.
Right? So, from my perspective, as being a kid that grew up in that era and having at least 2 of those encounters, I think, that definitely helped keep me on the straight and narrow. That and the fact that, my parents were heavily involved when it came to school. Like, it was no questions asked, you behave in school, right? You don't cut up, you don't give those teachers a hard time, and you definitely don't get in no fights in school. Right. These days with kids, it's complete 360, right? These kids go to school to fight. They have so much to be arguing about, but they have way more than what we had as kids. They got all these gaming systems. Man, we didn't get gaming systems till we was in, middle school?
I can get one then.
Close to high school or something like that?
Right.
They got $500-$600 gaming systems, and they in school fighting.
You know what I mean?
I may be dating myself. I know I'm dating myself, but I mean, we all the same age. You know, Rico's the youngest
Right,
one in the group,
right.
but we pretty much went to school together.
I think Rico be lying, but he said,
He might be, but he's mature, so he knows. But
Right.
I mean, I know back when we were in elementary and middle school, like you said, we had corporal punishment, and I remember our principal, and I've had a couple encounters in the principal's office. where
Right.
We got paddling and everything like that, and I remember how it made me feel.
Right.
After I got that paddling, the first time, I didn't want to get it again. Right.
sir.
For one, I was embarrassed.
Right.
Now it's not my mother or my father spanking me. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at it like that, you know, these days a lot of parents send their kids to school to be raised by the teachers.
Right.
That's not the teacher's
but
job.
they don't let the teach them raise.
Then they don't let the teachers raise them, right? So you have that issue right there.
Right.
So going back to when we was growing up, our parents were being parents. You know, they disciplined us there. Then they send us to school, and then we get the same thing. So it's that double reinforcement that we got. It's that double reinforcement, and I think that's what kids these days are lacking.
Right.
Y'all boys, I'm the young one, but did y'all boys have the switches?
We have switches.
Oh, yeah.
when I
Oh,
used
my
to-
grandmother didn't play.
Yeah,
She
I used to
she
come
twist them
home.
things.
Twist
but
it up, yeah. I used to have to
braid
go
it. Yeah,
outside.
yeah.
Pick your own
They
switch.
would
Right,
give me a
right.
knife, and I would have to cut a couple of
Yes,
them so they could braid them together.
Yes,
Check
sir.
this out. I remember my last spanking.
He still
Pop, we'll talk about this, you know. Look, man, he made me go get my switch. I went out and got it, and I got the smallest switch I can find.
Oh, yeah, no. Always.
That made it even worse.
Right.
Made it even worse, right?
Right.
So he told me to go get another one, and it better not be small. So then I got ignorant. I got the biggest one I can find.
Yeah.
So you know what he did?
Oh, he used
He
it.
went and got two. He got two, braided them things up. I still got the mark on my leg. That thing wrapped around my thigh. You know,
But you learn your lesson.
I learned my
He
lesson.
never had no problems.
That's right.
I think one of the biggest things with this, man, because me too, I went through, a couple, because I was bad. Okay, I stayed in trouble, man.
Right.
But the thing about it is, I got something in the past, I got used to it. But the biggest thing was, after that time frame, I think what it is you know that you had to have fear in you when you're in the classroom. I don't think kids these days have no fear because, number one, your parents sending you to school, like you said, for the teachers to raise you. Someone sending you to school as an actual form of daycare, basically, because they doing so much stuff to basically while you in school, they be doing whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is you make it hard on the teachers because now the teacher got to do their job and your job.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, kids don't have no fear because, like I said, growing up, when we was growing up, you better not talk that much, or you better not do that because
Or talk
you know
back to the teacher.
right?
But you know how now you've been walking out in the store and stuff like that, and you hear these kids tell their mama that shut up.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or they get an attitude and walk off when their parents talking to them.
Where they do that at?
And
Not
so, and so
my
they
time.
giving these kids like this I don't know, extra freedom or you know what I mean, making like their rights.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean.
But I will say this, and I told, matter of fact, being a father of girls, okay, one of the biggest things I used to tell my baby mothers all the time, and I think one of the things where a lot of parents mess up at, and I look all through my daughters in the face and I told them straight up, I am not your friend.
Right.
Okay? A lot of these parents try to be their kids' friends.
Yeah.
If they got an attitude or they mad, that hurts your feelings, get over it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I'd rather for you to respect me than be disrespectful.
Right.
And that's what, like they said, that shut up and all. That's why that stuff comes from. Because you better trying to be their friend.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't want to hurt little Susie's feeling because she had a bad day at school. Tell Susie to suck it up.
Would you be okay with, I'm glad you brought up you got daughters on, would you be okay with corporal punishment for your daughters?
I would.
Yeah.
If they deserve it.
If they deserve it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
basically disrupting a teacher class, okay, because I don't have experience with it. I literally live right down the street from the school that my daughter went to.
Yeah.
And she would basically, the teacher would call and say, well, your daughter doing this. But her mom would go to the school and mom be like, well, I don't think she's doing all that. Okay, that's okay. Well, that's how you feel. But the teacher ain't just gonna call and say she's doing this and you don't believe it. So I made a pop-up visit.
Okay.
So when I make the pop-up visit and looked in the window, you doing everything the teacher said you was doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you jumped and bounced around and looked right in my face.
What?
Yeah.
And you were like, Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just like my oldest daughter, and she probably watches this, she's gonna be laughing. Matter of fact, shouts out to my baby, her birthday's tomorrow.
Happy birthday, baby.
So basically, I popped up on her because literally she was 4 hours away.
Oh,
yeah.
So I'm talking to you like, okay, baby, you need to do this. Okay, daddy, yeah, okay, all right, okay. Don't think I won't pop up on you from 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So guess what?
Me too.
Guess what I did? Popped up at the high school, talked to the guidance counselor. What class she in? Yeah. Oh, she's on about third period. Okay, what class is that? Math? Okay, good, perfect.
Yep.
Let's go to that class.
Another thing that helped me, man, in school was, I mean, we come from a small town, right? But one of the things that I know right now, we're in a big city, so schools are a lot bigger.
And different.
Yeah, and different. But a smaller town really helped us because I remember my math teacher, Miss Irvin, was a cashier.
I love Miss Irvin. Shouts out Miss Irvin.
Yeah, Miss Pam Irvin, she was a cashier with my mom at Winn-Dixie, right? So if I did bad in Miss Irvin's class, guess what? Her and my mom talking about it at work in the evening, right? So
You ain't finna make it home,
man,
good, boy.
And then you got our pastor, our childhood pastor. He was at the time before he was a principal, he was a janitor,
Right.
at the middle school. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I'm in ISS. Guess what? He calling my mom before I even get home.
Right.
Alan going to ISS. Pastor, you know what he did? I don't know yet, but I'll find out for you, sure.
Right.
So you know what that's called? That's called a village, right?
It's a village.
Because everybody was accountable for you.
Yes, that's right.
Your moms had friends that knew her, and they said, "Hey, we got you."
Yep, that's right.
And guess what? It worked because look where you at today. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So it sounds like all this stuff really starts at the home.
It does, man.
does.
And like you said, because I was that parent too, like, I always told my boys, don't let your teacher call me.
Right.
I don't want to talk to your teacher. We already had a conversation about school. This is your job. This is your career for the next 12 years.
Yep.
I don't want to talk to you.
Exactly.
Because your teacher is your supervisor.
And I would
if your
tell-
supervisor calling me, that's a problem.
I told mom straight up, I said, listen, one thing about daddy, I like making my money. When your teacher called me off my job,
I got to stop making
that
my
means I
money.
got to stop making my money.
That's right.
And when I mean I got to stop making my money, that means you in trouble.
So I did the same. I used to do the same thing you said. I used to pop up, and then my son used to see me. He looked me in my face one day, and guess what? We never had no.
Right.
Shouts out to my baby. He finna go back to school to become a pharmacist.
That's right.
But those are conversations as parents that we have to have with our kids to make sure that they understand, the seriousness of what's going on in the school, right? Because we laugh, we joke, it's cool, we meet new people, we have fun, but it's time to cut that out sometimes and learn, and be serious and not be disruptive.
So yes, I don't know what statistics you have there or anything like that.
I got some now. I got them.
Think so I know we put a lot on the parents and stuff like that. But what about? I mean, I think a big portion of it is bullying.
Okay, so you mentioned bullying.
Okay.
Let me get to it. One of the warning signs of violence: bullying, based on race, religion, or sexual orientation.
Yeah.
What happened yesterday? 2 days ago?
A couple of days ago. So, for those who don't know, Monday, March 27th, there was a school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee, where a individual went into a school and killed 3 kids and 3 adults. So 6 people. And they're not really saying, but her parents indicated, and I'm sorry I said her, we'll say the individual's parents, because they didn't identify with, what they actually were, right? So out of respect for that whole, situation, we'll say individual. Their parents indicated that they had mental issues, right? So that brings into question another issue, because that person possessed guns, 2 assault rifles and a pistol, right? So as a parent who has an individual, a child, right, who has mental problems, or who you think is questionable mentally, is it your job to say, hey, get rid of your guns? And if they don't, take them from them, right?
Yeah.
Because this is what happened, right? That individual, after their parents said, get rid of your guns, they went and shot up a school. So now there are 6 people that are dead that didn't have to be dead if the parents had acted. So what you think?
Well, what I don't understand is, first of all, how old was the individual?
They were not young. They were in their, I'm gonna say early to mid 20s.
Okay. All right,
So late 20s.
Okay, so basically, first of all, do they have a permit to carry the gun or whatever?
Well, nowadays, like most states are eliminating that need.
Right.
Florida's one,
Georgia, I was about to say, Georgia's one.
You can just go and buy them if you pass it back.
See, and that's where the problem comes in at. And then once again, if you know your kid is mental like that, okay, at what point do you step in and get them some help anyway before it gets to that point?
That's what I wanted to say, Orlando, man. It's like we got to pay attention to the warning signs. So
Right.
we started talking about bullying, right? So bullying, most people who bully, they're getting bullied. You know what I mean? Or they've gotten bullied. So now they're trying to bully somebody else to build up their self-esteem, right? So it's always like cause and effect. So if parents are in tune, then like, okay, I'm noticing, take my kids, for example, right? They're 2.5, 3 years apart, right? And I notice sometimes when Austin is having problems, my oldest is having problems in school, maybe with some other kids and he's getting bullied or, you know, he had a bad day, got in a fight, whatever. When they're home, he's bullying his little brother, you know? And so I have to be in tune to be able to have that conversation with them, right? And then I also have to take that and go up to the school and see what's going on and talk to both of those kids. I'm that parent. I'll talk to both. I'll like, all right, which one? Oh, the little Allen over there? Hey, come on, man. What y'all fighting for? Y'all need to be learning it. And then that makes them feel better, you know, because who knows what the other little kid is going through, right? But that's the stuff that parents have to pay attention to. So then when we talk about, you know, guns in the house and everything like that, you know, if you know your child is going through something mentally, if you're in tune, then you might need to pack up those guns or lock them up double tight, you know, because you already see some signs of some mental illness. Yeah.
So we're talking about corporal punishment, right? And bringing it back to schools and if it'll help solve some of these situations that are occurring. So do you think that corporal punishment would help reduce fighting and bad behavior by these kids in school, right? You think if they knew that when they got sent to the office for fighting or disrupting class and they were gonna get paddled, do you think that they would think twice about fighting or being disruptive or being, we'll say, a bad seed in school?
I'm gonna say yes and no. My answer is gonna be weird, right? Because yes, it would help if we never went away from it, right? All these years, corporal punishment has gone for years, right? So yes, if we never would have went away from it. No, because we've gone away from it and now we're trying to reintroduce it.
Because they don't know it.
They don't know it, and these kids, their mentality is so different now, you know? So it's like, I can see kids, man, you ain't gonna put your hands on me. Like, they're that comfortable. When we was coming up, corporal punishment was a standard, right? It was a way of being in school.
And we knew our parents would put their hands on us.
Exactly.
It wasn't a question. It wasn't a question.
That's the point I was going to make, because with me, I agree with you. It's yes and no. I'm saying yes because basically, like I said from the beginning, you got to have fear in these kids. But then no, it beats the purpose of having corporal punishment if I'm doing it here at school, but you can't do it at your house.
Yeah, but cause,
Right.
you know,
There's no
now,
reinforcement.
Right.
A lot of parents now, they don't believe in spanking their children. That's big now. A lot of, you know, there's even been, you know, where there's divided with, like, I have friends that are couples that one believe in and one don't. Right? So it's kind of hard to say, okay, I'm going to let a person, an educator, whoop my child. Right? When I don't even, you know what I'm saying, whoop them. So how is that going?
So I'll admit, when my oldest was born, you know, I tried to take the same approach. Oh no, I'm gonna talk, you know, because I got spanked as a kid, you know.
Right, for real.
And I was like, no, I ain't gonna do that. After a couple of situations, that quickly changed. And again, now he's doing great.
Because me being honest,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't like, you know, I was spanked or whatever. I actually do not like when I have to spank my son.
Right, me either.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though he's crying and stuff, it actually hurts me.
It does. It does.
Why he make me have to do this?
Right.
We don't want to see our kids crying and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we hurting them, and then they hurting us.
Right.
So we just got to figure out other, sometimes some other avenues, right, to do this, right? You know what I mean? But you can't have your child coming to school bullying mine, or vice versa, and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you like, okay, well then I'm gonna just always beat them. You know. Right. Yes, it may work for the time being, but I don't know.
So I think when they get to a certain age, like I used to always tell mine, like, look, you 12 for us to be doing this dance.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
You already know what I expect. You know what I'm saying? You know what your job is. Let's just do it.
Right. Because you think about it, like now, let's say for all of a sudden your kid grows up and he 17, 16, 17, acting crazy. So now, ain't no, you got to box him.
Right. Now you got to really put your hands on
now. Now
we got
exactly.
to box. So we went from spanking to where you older, where you bigger than me, just whatever.
Because these kids get bigger now.
So now, you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to be scrapping now.
Right.
And I think, I think it's important too to have, understand your relationship with your child. In other words, have a relationship with your kids, right? A lot of kids like to be talked to.
Yeah.
You know, if kids are being talked at, they already got enough pressure in school. Kids have pressure in school. They go through a lot in school.
These days, anyway. Yeah.
These days, they go through a lot in school. So if they're coming home, then I had a bad day at school, and they're coming home and they're being yelled at and they have no peace, that's not helping their mind. It's not helping their mental.
I think we eliminate some social media.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot of it.
You eliminate
that causes a lot of fights.
TV. You eliminate some of social media. Like so, it was one. So I found out. So my neighbor, her son goes to Tucker Middle School, right? And they've been having some issues over there or whatever. But what I've heard is that in the middle school they got fight clubs. Like they fighting and posting stuff on social media, right? Yeah. Come on now.
That's crazy.
I actually went and this girl I was talking to at the pharmacy, and she showed me this video. Her son got suspended I think 5 days from school for fighting. But I seen the video. Like, it was a whole group of them in there. You would think it was a boxing match. Yeah, because it's like a fight club. They pumping each other up, and the fight might have lasted like 2 minutes. And then you airdropping the video, and everybody got it, including the principal.
2 minutes is a long fight if you think about it.
But still, though, what was the purpose of all that? So now all y'all, including one who airdropped it, all y'all suspended for a 2-minute fight.
But we already, what's the one word that always wins and always puts everybody in a position that they don't want to be in or shouldn't be in? Ego. Yeah. It's always ego. Even with these kids, they're young, they feel like, oh, I'm better than you, or I dress better than you, or I got this and you ain't got, you know what I'm saying? It's always ego, right?
But now you got it where these kids probably suspended, and then say I'm the parent, I still got to go to work.
Right.
And so now I'm sitting at home and I'm on my video game.
Playing
with the same.
That's bad parenting.
Right. I guarantee you it happens. So now I'm sitting here, me and Alan, we was fighting some dude or whatever, and now we suspended or whatever. Man, hey man, what time you gonna be on the game?
Right. We play online. We online together.
Once again, that goes back to what I said from the beginning. That's those parents who trying to be their kid's friend. Because I know when my kids get in trouble in school, no, give me their phone, give me all that.
Yeah, take all those things.
Take all that.
Take the dough off the hand.
Right, I'm saying take me all that.
Because at the end of the day, stuff to do out in the yard.
You need to focus on you need to focus on school and basically focus on the reason why you even did that. And then you hope to be lucky that I won't come up with some kind of crazy stuff to have you doing around the house. Since you decided you don't want to learn nothing.
Oh, that was my mama. Because shouts out to BC, because when I got in trouble and got sent home from school, you thought I was finna be home chilling?
No, you working.
She got a list on the refrigerator every day I was home. I'm talking about front and back.
Clinton Sherrill didn't play. Man, my mama
every
had
day.
Me cleaning the wood. Woodworks. Woodworks down there with a toothbrush. I'm scrubbing. Yeah. I'm scrubbing the dirt. I'm talking about I got a little ice cream pail with soap and water. I'm scrubbing the whole house.
Limbs out the yard, picking up pecans, and I better have at least a bucket to 2 buckets. You know what I'm saying? Cut the grass, fold the clothes, wash the dishes. Oh, yeah.
So basically make the kids accountable for stuff, too.
Yeah,
definitely.
But do we do that, though? I think that's one of the biggest setbacks.
We're talking about we don't know what all the issues that are causing these problems, right? These are just some of our assumptions, right? And they some good assumptions, right? We know that the parents got to be in the picture. The parents have to reinforce certain things that happen in the school. When a teacher says that your child is doing something, you need to be up at the school trying to figure out, is this valid?
Yeah.
What's going on? How can you fix the issue, right? If it's an issue with kids bullying your child or whatever, you talk to the school. You have the school bring their parents up there.
That's right.
And say, hey, you know what I'm saying? We need to keep these kids separate, or we got to figure this out, right?
That's right.
Because it can't go on like that, right? Because in the end, if my child or your child is getting bullied, at some point they're not gonna be able to take it no more, right? And then outside of school shootings and stuff like that, then that's when you have kids killing themselves.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That was my next point, because
Right.
basically one of the main things, no matter how busy you are as a parent, okay, even if it's 10 minutes per day, take the time to sit down with your kid and ask them, how was your day at school? Or how was your day at work? You got to, because something. Then the thing about it is, or if you don't have that time, make sure you have that kid, I'm saying, interact with somebody, whether in your family or a neighbor or somebody at the church, somebody that they can be comfortable enough to go to and tell that stuff. Because sometimes, I admit, sometimes we can't be parents that, we might be too hard, or they feel like they can't trust us with certain things. Then they need to have somebody that they can go to and talk to before it all builds up and then they do something crazy.
Oh yeah.
Right. So a lot of these kids be suffering silently, and they never say nothing, and the parents never know. So what about this, right? So when something like this occurs, should the parents be held accountable?
Yes.
So just like those parents specifically indicated that their child was mentally ill, and they told them to get rid of their guns.
Yeah,
should they have taken them?
Well, she was grown.
True, but still, she was in their house.
She lived with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and we're saying but the individual was living with them.
Yeah, that's different.
So should they have been more proactive and said, and taking those guns?
If you my child and you in my house and I know you got problems,
right,
I'm gonna take them.
Right.
I'm not asking you.
Because she could have, the individual could have shot the parents, right?
Correct. I'm gonna take
and then went to the school.
Yeah.
Depending on how sick she is, she could have.
Right.
She ain't gonna have nobody.
Yeah, guns need to be out the house if you're dealing with anybody that's mentally ill. Anybody. I don't care what age, what gender. Guns should not even be around.
Yeah.
They should have no access to them.
Yeah.
So let's talk about mental illness, mental health, right? It's a big topic. A lot of people embrace going to therapy and embrace, trying to solve their problems and get better. And a lot of people don't. Right. A lot of people write it off as, I'm fine. I'm in a rough patch. When they really need that voice, right? They need that outlet, that person that they can talk to and not feel like they're being judged. Because, a lot of people feel like if they're talking to a family member, they're talking to a friend, oh man, they're gonna judge me, they're gonna think I'm crazy, blah, blah, blah. When that's not the case, right?
So at what age should someone go to therapy when, as a child, right? So, know, 10, 11, when I would assume that the parents should be almost kind of their therapist, so they should be talking to them nonstop, right? But what age do you think that, okay, from a parent's perspective, that you can't do enough, you need to send them over to
let me get this cool. When you first see the first sign,
right?
I would say when you first see that first sign, whether they 3, 4, 5, 6, it don't matter. When you first see that first sign of some type of mental issue, I'm saying you need to get that handled. Don't wait to say, well, you know what, he's just 4, he maybe probably that's just how he act right now. He's gonna grow out of it.
Right.
Nah.
And I'm gonna follow that up by saying, when you see that first sign and you see that you're no longer able to reach your child, when you're no longer able to reach your child and affect them mentally and emotionally, then you need to start trying to seek them help.
Yep.
Because you never know, again, what they're going through and what route they're going to take. Because it could be, down that path of destruction, or it could be down, another path.
The last thing you want your child to do is go quiet.
Right.
And a child will go quiet if they feel they have nobody to talk to. If they can't talk to mom, if they can't talk to dad, nobody lets them talk. that kid is going to shut down. So then you have to encourage, okay, if I can't get him to a therapist right now, you know, you need to talk to your guidance counselors. You need to talk to somebody at school. And then you also may need to take the lead in getting the school involved and letting them know the concern. So the school can take initiative and say, reach out to this child. You know, because when a child goes quiet, like you said, you just never know what path they're getting ready to go down.
So I don't know what's your next on your
Oh, we got
section
some
list.
stats, man.
Okay, so we're talking about the kids having the issues, right? But
Right.
how can the school itself protect the students when these things happen, right? So as we can see, it keeps happening.
It does.
Right?
It does.
So can we think of anything that would help them to protect the
Oh yeah,
kids
most
and-
definitely.
Evaluations.
If I don't know if any of you followed the whole situation that happened at elementary school in Texas, like what was that, last year? I think is when it was. Yeah, right. But it was a whole group of veterans that were willing to be security guards. They were willing to be security guards not only at that elementary school, but at elementary schools around. You know what I'm saying? They were actively trying to become guardians.
So you think even at the I mean it's wild now. It's like at the elementary school level, the
Elementary
middle
school, man, we
level,
gotta worry
and the
about-
high
yeah.
school level. Now we gotta have
Security. Armed security, yeah.
And that's going to be on a volunteer basis, because if you do it, if you beef up the police force or sheriff department, I mean, that's tax dollars, right? So it's like, yeah, it sounds good to beef up security, but how do you do that?
Well, I
You
mean,
know?
it would probably technically still be tax dollars, because I mean, it would turn into like some sort of contracting situation
Right.
with those guys. But I think when you talking about them becoming security, you're talking about peanuts and pennies, because you talking about them potentially saving the lives
Right.
of hundreds and thousands of kids.
Yeah.
If that were to happen.
Well, I'm gonna say it like this, because just like when we had all this COVID testing and all this other stuff, I think basically you got to go out and have certain seminars with parents, take their kids. If you have some kind of, even the slightest thought in your mind that your kid might have some kind of mental issue, we're gonna have test sites at these schools where you can go in and have these kids tested, regardless. We're saying how old they are, whatever. Like it's non-negotiable. Okay, we said before the school starts, every year, every student needs to be tested. Some saying whatever test you go through, just to make sure you don't have no type of sign, or some kind of mental issue. Then that's on the parent. Once you get that results, that's on you to ask yourself, okay, am I going to look over this, or do I want my kid to have help? Because some people just don't even know that their kids even have mental issues, because like you said, AC, you don't not in tune with them like that.
Right.
But I think if some of these schools have, because like you can't say it's tax dollars, because we put money into education all the time. So why not put money into a little extra by having these kids tested for whatever the situation may be? You know what I'm saying? Because you want to test them for drugs, why not test them for mental issues?
All right. So let's look at some stats, man. We 3 months into 2023, right? We're in March, April coming in, right? 13 school shootings, 150 school shootings since 2018, right? 51 school shootings with injury or death in 2022, 51. 35 in 21, 10 in 20, and then 24 in 19 and 18, right? So we were talking about the Nashville shooting that happened back March 27th, which was, Monday? Audrey Hale had 2 assault weapons and 1 pistol, right? Was able to kill 6 people, 3 kids and 3 adults. Was being treated for emotional disorder, but at the same time was still allowed to maintain possession of weapons, right? I don't know about y'all, but for me, that's a problem, right? It's a problem for me that somebody possesses weapons and they're mentally unstable.
And the crazy part, not just like all those weapons you just named, you didn't hit no 9mm, you didn't hit no 38. You know what I'm saying? You didn't hit nothing small
weapons
like that.
and a pistol.
You know what I'm saying? You heard big guns. So I'm trying to figure out, like, at what point do you allow somebody that's mentally ill like that to walk around with powerful weapons like that?
And they were still allowed to purchase weapons.
Yes. The thing about it is that you might have a mental issue, but that's not necessarily gonna pop up on a background check.
True.
You know what I mean? Or you could already have the weapons and then mental after that.
So
right?
so let's say this.
Whatever.
So do you think that should be a flag on somebody's background, like they're being treated for mental disorder?
Well, the thing about it is that the only reason it's tough is because it goes into your doctor, patient
HIPAA laws.
Yeah, HIPAA laws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, "Oh, I'm being treated because I'm distressed because I just went through a bad divorce or something like that, and I've lost my kids, whatever it is, right? I can't see them no more, right? And so now I'm going to see a therapist or whatever, and I'm really bad off, right? So now should that be on my record? Does it necessarily mean I can't possess my firearms, which I'm already legally can carry, right? That'll be difficult to police.
Right.
But the thing about it is, you got to also understand, when you like that, you have to accept that that's going to put you in a whole different category.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that there's nothing but you are telling people to try to police themselves and say, man, I'm in this bad mental space. Here, take this stuff, right? So I won't hurt nobody. I mean, we wish people would act like that, maybe.
True.
But that's not
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world, right? In a perfect world, nobody ain't gonna get no gun, just shoot you for no reason.
True.
Right? But we not in a perfect world, so to try to flag that would be really, really difficult, right? The thing about it is, COVID helped us, right? During the COVID time, there was no mass shootings. There was no school shootings. I ain't gonna say mass shootings, but there was no school shootings. Right. Nobody was in school. Right. So I don't know if it keeps going on.
Oh, those numbers would have definitely been different had COVID not happened.
Yeah. Right. So if it just keeps going on like this, you may have more parents opting for homeschool. Yeah. Or if they'll find a school district that offers still remote learning. I know with my son, if I can work from home and I know my son is sitting in the next room, I'm not worried about no school shooting because I'm here and there with me.
Yeah. So I subscribe to the Nextdoor app. I don't know if y'all know what that is.
Yeah, I got that too.
So Nextdoor app, I saw a conversation with one of the ladies that was on there, and she was just talking about how horrible the behavior of the kids were at the school that her daughters attended. So much so that she pulled them out of school and was homeschooling them, and then was applying to be able to homeschool them until they graduate with grade school. Your school has to be horrible for a parent to say, you know what, I'm not letting y'all go back to school. I'm finna homeschool y'all.
Yeah. And then the crazy part about it is, if you think about it, you asking these teachers to do a whole lot.
They are.
And their salary is ridiculous.
It's trash.
Like, I'm saying, like, if you're gonna put me in a predicament, like they asked me to be a teacher one time, I was like, you don't want me to be a teacher. No. You don't want me to be no teacher.
I wanted to be a teacher.
No. You don't want me to be no teacher.
I wanted to be one.
Because I won't lie. The principal office be full of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So and I know how my mindset is, and I'm old school. You know what I'm saying? So and then the thing about it is, like I said, once again, I'm gonna keep on saying fear, because these kids these days have no fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do not.
And the things that they do, you know. I'm gonna tell you the little story that just happened to me, you know, a couple weeks ago, where this kid stole this girl's car. Okay, I don't know what possessed me to do this, but out of the craziest thing, the girl was crying. I'm like, okay, you good? I know. So I'm like, okay, look at the guy right there. I jumped in my car. We chased the guy, caught him. Okay, so when I went up on him and I got him out of the car. The craziest thing was like, now I'm looking at this kid like, okay, how old are you? Like 17. Like, what you doing, man?
And he just got out of jail.
Where your parents at?
Right.
He said, my dad in jail, my mama at work. Okay, your dad in jail, that's an ex right there. Yeah. Okay, then your mama at work, she probably don't even know you out here doing this. Okay, and then he just got
working.
Right, but you just got out of jail.
Right.
And then you turn around doing the same thing to get back in jail. Right. So I'm just trying to, and my mindset was like, okay, like we really are losing these youth by the minute.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, do you think something like at some point in a school situation, do we just say, okay, we gotta put you out of school? Like we just put you out, and then now your parents gotta go spend money to put you into a private school if that private school will take you.
But see, here's the thing.
But do you think that will cause more problems in society?
No,
think so.
no, I
Just
actually,
putting them out with no repercussions, no nothing, no responsibility for their actions. I think they should. And I don't know, because my kids ain't in school no more. I don't know if they have in-school suspension anymore.
Nope.
Make them come to school, but segregate them from everybody else.
But segregation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you be stuck in there where you can't do nothing but
Sitting at home when you get in trouble for 5 days and playing a video game or your teacher emailing you your work. Oh man.
I rather go suspended.
No, I know. I remember back in the day, they had a kid was bad, they couldn't do good in school. They had Job Corps. Send them to Job Corps.
Oh yeah, that too.
That way you can work and you still go to school while you're in Job Corps.
But the kids are bad enough to say I ain't gonna do it.
Right.
They be like, you send them a job corps. I'm here, but what that mean? I don't gotta do nothing.
Now every kid you can't save, right? Every kid, because some of them just completely have no fear, and those are the ones that they just
buck up at you.
Those are sometimes the ones that's what's causing the problems, right? They ain't got no fear or nothing.
But some of them are the ones that do have fear. Yeah. They just follow the ones like that.
Yeah, you gotta start
until something real happens.
Yeah, I think we starting too late with these kids, right? You gotta start early. Like if you got boys and stuff, you gotta put that fear in them early.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was holding on to that.
I did,
but I'm glad you mentioned that because one of my biggest things, and like I said, shouts out to the mothers who are hardcore. Okay, right. Sometimes you gotta be able to, I'm saying, whether you got a boyfriend or somebody you dating or whatever, a lot of these women don't want you to be a man to their son. Okay? No. You got, I'm saying, if you see what's out of your hands, you gotta let that man come in and teach him because trust me, if you don't, I'm saying the way society gonna feed him ain't the way you want it to. Okay, right. I've been in a situation before where I dated this girl. She had a son, and she basically everything was cool. But like I used to tell her all the time, like it's gonna be some point that you're gonna have to allow whatever man, whether it's me or whoever that comes in, you're gonna have to allow them to teach him, how to be a man. Because if you don't, society gonna teach him, but you ain't gonna like the way they teach him.
That saying that a lot of these women date their kids and they dress them up like they men, like they want to dress their boyfriend.
Been there, done that.
Right. Yeah. So the kids that were killed, ages 3 to 9 in the shooting, right? Ooh. So let's fast forward, right? So we're in March of 2023. We had 6 school shootings, 8 people killed, 4 kids, 4 adults. These shootings occurred Tennessee, Texas, Colorado, Indiana, right?
And Texas got some of the strictest laws. I'm surprised.
They did, but recently they've kind of relaxed those laws, right?
Gotcha.
So they're almost like Georgia, where you don't necessarily have to have go through all the rigmarole to get a permit and all that stuff, and you can carry. So and I don't know, it's always an agenda with this stuff that we never know about. You never know what's in their minds when they're thinking. Put more guns on the street, put more guns in the hands of people, put more guns in the hands of people who don't necessarily need them.
Right.
We're not politicians, we don't make laws, and sometimes we don't even understand how they even get to those.
And see, that's the thing, should we hold our politicians accountable? Like, should they maybe change the laws and who can access guns or who can purchase guns,
what's the purpose of doing that if you're not gonna have people get out and vote for those laws?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Or for those politicians.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like if you're not gonna have somebody like you could say, okay, we're gonna pass a law where no guns at a certain point. If you don't get out and vote to be able to vote on that, they're gonna pass it regardless.
Yeah. And then even if the people do get out and vote, it still might get passed regardless. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Again, there's always an agenda in the background that we have no clue about. And then, when certain laws get passed, we, had these big question marks. How did that get passed? Right. Why does that make sense? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about why school shootings happen, right? And the group of people that typically, does these school shootings, right? Mm-hmm. All right. There was a professor at University of Clemson that studied school shootings K through 12. Right, because we've had a few of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Majority of the people who attack K through 12 schools, they're white, they're male. The median age is 15. 15. You can't even get a gun until you're what? 21?
21.
18?
21. 21.
18.
Some states
18
21.
in Georgia. Yeah, that's
18.
right. Yeah.
Shotguns, rifles.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? They feel marginalized or they're bullied,
Yeah.
which is what you said earlier. And they also use these events to take their own lives, right? Because they already know they're in trouble. They know they're gonna either go to jail. They don't feel like their life is valuable
It's just sad.
because they don't feel like anybody else's life is valuable.
Right.
Age 15. What was you doing at 15? You was in what, high school?
Right, playing
What's in high
football.
school?
Man, I was still playing YMCA
I'm
ball,
playing football.
man. 15.
I'm playing
I'm
football.
still
We
was playing
banging
video
out
games.
YMCA.
Right. I'm playing football.
Sports, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
15 years old,
trying to
man.
get an education.
Trying to get an education.
Right.
Trying to figure out what we gonna eat the next day.
Right.
What we finna eat that day.
And that's really the importance of, that's why it's so critical to have your kids in extracurriculars. And it don't have to be sports. It could be debate clubs, it could be chorus, it could be the band, it could be
Keep 'em
anything. Yeah, just keep your kids busy. Keep them involved in church. These churches these days, they do a good job of focusing on the kids, you know, in the youth ministries, mission trips for middle schoolers and high schoolers. Like, get your kids involved in a church home, extracurriculars, and just keep them busy, because if you don't, and you focus on working to the point where all they're doing is playing video games, YouTube is not helping. YouTube is
It's
really,
probably part of the problem.
it is part of the problem. It's pretty much raising our kids. They're getting so much information way beyond what we got when we grew up, when we was growing up. I mean, and it's at their fingertips.
Man, shit, we should lock them up.
Sounds like
No. I mean, like, okay, so 12 years old, right? You bullying, you doing all this kind of stuff. Cool, right? We'll have not years, but you send them off.
24 hours, 40.
I was gonna say a month or something.
Job Corps. That's what I'm
like
saying. Send them to Job Corps.
Nah, ain't no job corps. You locked up.
All right, so
23-1.
So I got two stats, right? 2022, the U.S. saw a record number of school shootings. The biggest stat, gun violence is not a leading cause of adolescent death in America. So gun violence is killing kids more than anything else, right? Since Columbine in 1999, everybody is familiar with Columbine because that was probably the one that probably kicked it all off, or is more popular. 376 school shootings since 1999.
Yeah. It's a lot.
376. That's crazy. That number is astounding to me because we're talking about kids. We're talking about kids, right?
Yeah.
10 warning signs of gun violence or violence, period. Withdrawing from friends, family, and activities, right? Bullying, that word again. Excessive irritability, right? When you try and talk to your kid and they just on 10 and you like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Chronic loneliness, social isolation. Persistent thoughts of harming themselves, someone else.
Yeah.
Direct threats towards a place, person, or themselves. Bragging about access to guns and weapons, right? And that's crazy to me because I grew up in a house with, guns, and we dare not touch my pop's gun. Like that was, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That was, you almost cut your hand off before you touch
Right,
my
for real.
Like it's unfathomable how these kids just pick up their parents' gun and walk to school with it.
Yeah. My dad,
Or go to
he
school
didn't
with
have no
it,
gun case. Gun, right? You know not to touch it.
Recruiting accomplices or audience for attack. Directly expressing a threat as a plan. So already having a plan in mind and trying to recruit somebody to help you with it.
Right.
And then the last one, cruel to the animals. Right?
Yeah.
So one question is that if both parents are not together, right? Would it be better for the child, especially a boy, to maybe be with the father? Kind of like on what was the show? What was the movie on?
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
We're gonna trade them.
Yeah. So once the mother, she's like, man, I can't handle them.
Right.
You need to be with your dad. Furious.
Well, first of all, the first thing that the mother has to do is admit that.
Right.
That's number
the first
one.
thing.
You got to admit that.
Yes.
Okay. And you got to like we was talking about this. You got to look at what's the best option for that child.
Yes.
Okay. You can't look at the fact of the matter of, okay, well, this part of my income that's coming in, or basically, well, you know what, I don't know what his daddy doing over there, so I ain't sending my baby over there because he might learn bad habits. But yet still, you trying to work and he doing God knows what while you at work, and then causing issues. But no, my baby don't do that. But okay, you at work, you know what he's doing. So I feel like basically, you as that mom got to get it in your mind. What's more important? Is it the safety and the future of this kid, or you emotionally in your feelings?
I'm gonna pull Orlando. I'm gonna pull one of your moves, and I'm gonna look in the camera and say this. A lot of these mothers are making their kids fatherless because of their bitterness.
Repeat that one more time.
A lot of these mothers are making their kids fatherless because of their bitterness.
So we're gonna definitely say that as men, no, we don't know all the answers. But as men, especially when it comes to our boys and our sons, we definitely want to make sure that we steer them on the right path when it comes to this thing called life, and keep them out of jail and keep them out of trouble as much as possible.
And then you know what? I'm gonna go a little bit deeper, Coop. Being a father of girls, okay. If I had my daughters, and I see where it was one that I just could not reach, and I felt like it was better for her to go live with her mom, I would be man enough to say, you know what, baby? First of all, I'm gonna sit down and talk to the kid. You know, baby, listen. Clearly, daddy can't reach you. Right. So it's got to be some kind of maybe I'm not the man for the job. Yeah. I'm not giving up on you. I'm not saying that I will be there for you. But I just feel like this is a situation where you need to go live with your mom, and that motherly bond gonna have to kick in to teach you what I can't do.
Right.
So as parents, we need to consider the kids and not ourselves, and not be selfish.
Right.
And on that, we're gonna move into our next segment of Bro Code, and we're gonna come up. We got 2 questions that we're gonna answer. Ask Bro Code.
Ask Bro Code.
So Rico, you got a question for us?
I got your question, man.
Let's get it.
Always anonymous.
Yes, sir.
All right. How do men feel about women making the first move?
How do men feel about women making the first move? That's an interesting question.
So basically, the woman shooting her shot.
I think you know what? I think it's different, and to me, it just lets you know that she know what she want.
Right. I feel like that too.
Yeah,
I mean, like a woman who
she come
shoot her
on
shot.
to me, I'm saying first.
Yeah.
That means she been scoping me out. She been watching, and basically, that means she know what she want, and she's not afraid. I'm saying she's not into that quote unquote old school mentality where the man got to no. She know what she want. Listen, okay, look. I see you over here sitting here having a drink. Look here, can I buy you a drink?
Right.
Yo, you can buy me a drink. You sure can.
Can I
have
sit
a
here
seat.
and talk to you?
Right, sit down, have a seat. That let me know, okay, listen, you interested, that's where your mind at.
Could she be too aggressive? That'll throw you off?
What's too, well, it depends.
A little bit.
She can't be thirsty.
Yeah, like all of a sudden,
right.
she's sitting there, she's like, man, shoot, man, this you want to go home?
No. That's too aggressive.
That's too aggressive.
That's too
I'll be
For who?
honest. Yeah.
She could try to take me off.
So
we ain't got to play games.
No, listen. Okay, so here's my thing. Here's my thing with that. Because see, I've been through that before. Like I used to hang out at the club with my boys. Like every time we used to go, I had women that would hit on me, like, you know, you so cute, you fine, this, that, and third. So my boys used to get mad. They were like, man, you got all these women hitting on you, but you don't want to go home with them. And my mindset was like, okay, if you hitting on me this week, I wasn't here last week. Who you hit on last week? Who you took home last week?
But you the cute dude wasn't.
See, that's that emotional response. Like, I ain't worried about last week. I'm worried about this week and today. You trying to take me home? Buy me another drink. We can talk about it.
I'm gonna buy you a drink.
Right. T-Pain me, please.
Well, hey, I guess I got to stand this.
Right. I don't know if that's it. Hey,
right.
We don't play around.
Okay, so last one. Can you be friends with an ex that may still have feelings for you?
That's a tough one. Can you be friends with an ex that still has feelings for you? That's a tough one. Only because of the fact that feelings are still involved, right? So those lines for them are always going to be blurred, right? You might think it's a friendly situation. You say, hey, let's go grab some food. In their mind, oh, he asked me out on a date because he want me back, right? Type of deal. But that's not the case. You might genuinely look at them as a friend, as a good person, want to stay in contact, but it's not, in their mind, it's not the same situation.
Yeah,
So,
I believe it's not possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, we've all heard about soul ties, right? So once you give yourself to somebody in that way, it's really no going back from that, right? Once you don't cross those lines, you've established a soul tie. So if you know you're done with it, but that person still wants to be friends, it's best to set a boundary and say, you know what, we've already crossed that. I've moved on, so don't even entertain it, because at some point you're going to be vulnerable, because that friendship.
Because we're human.
Yeah, we're human. We already got that. We've already established that soul tie. So sometimes it's probably in the best interest of that person who does not want to be friends to just delete that person's number, delete that person's social media,
block.
And block until you get to a point where it can maybe be years later and you can have a cordial conversation, but I still don't think a friendship would be possible. Yeah.
I disagree with that.
Uh-oh. And why?
Because it just depends on your mindset. You got to be, if you got a strong mindset, first of all, it always comes with communication.
What if you make sure, are you the one with the feelings?
Listen.
Right, no, because that's important.
Right, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if I'm the one with the feelings, okay, basically, if I let you know that I'm still feeling you, and you tell me flat, listen, okay, I understand that. What we had did not work. But that does not mean we have to be enemies, but we can have a friendship, but only on a level where it's not going no further than that, okay? And I also been on the sense of the matter, well, listen, this ain't gonna work, okay? I don't want to be an enemy. We still can be friends. We still can be cool. I'm saying, because guess what? This is why I feel like this. Suppose something come up and the only person that that knows how to do it or the answer is that person. So you trying to tell me that you're not going to reach out to that person because of the fact that the feelings you used to have? I have to disagree with that, bro.
I get it.
Because when you say the word, you got to use friend loosely, because if y'all was hanging and stuff like that, you ain't going to be wanting to do that all the time. You got all these feelings. And then
they're not being reciprocated.
You're human.
Listen,
they're not being reciprocated.
Okay, so this how I look at it. Listen, I'd rather be friends with you than be enemies. So why would I let my emotions why would I let my emotions get the best of me when you basically clearly show me, okay, listen, this is all I got to offer you. Okay, no, listen. Whether you're in love or not, okay? This is all I can offer you.
So you can be that friend that she can talk to you about her new man and her new...
All that, bro. Been there, done that. Okay? I've been that dude.
And you be cool with it?
And let me tell you why. Listen. Let me tell you why. Because...
listen,
I really have had exes call me...
You got to do it after night in the booth.
Listen, I have had exes call me with issues with a new man.
Man, don't call me. Listen.
You're a consultant.
That's a whole nother thing.
No, listen.
You ain't calling me about
Listen. Here's the thing. That shows you my growth and maturity.
I got you.
Because at the end of the day...
Because you wasn't there before.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That shows you my growth and maturity.
I got you.
You and I didn't work, but why should I be mad because you're working with somebody else?
Okay.
Right.
But yet still, if you calling me as a man with something that you're going through and you got some questions, wait. Now, you know what? Call him. No.
But technically they're not working because she calling you.
That's my point. That's
So
my
then it
point.
might be them,
But
not
it
you.
also means that you consider me that much of a friend that you will call me with somebody that you have that's new. So clearly you respect my mindset and my advice, because you could call anybody you wanted to call, but you chose to call me about your new man. Why would I be mad? If clearly, basically, you value my opinion.
Yeah.
That's how I
Broco
look at it.
family, next time. We appreciate it. That's our show. We're going to get with O and we're going to figure out this growth journey that he on. Until next time, man. Peace.
Yeah.